back to the Forex Lounge Fundamental Extras. Today is Thursday, April 8th, 2010. Welcome back, one and all. Great you could join us. Today on Bloomberg.com, we read Australian employers added more workers in March, keeping the unemployment rate at almost half the level of the U.S. and Europe, and underscoring central bank Governor Glenn Stevens' decision to boost borrowing costs. The number of people employed gained 19,600 from February when it fell a revised 4,700, the Statistics Bureau said today in Sydney. The jobless rate held at 5.3%. Now that's compared to the 9.7% jobless rate in the U.S. and a 10% jobless rate in the European Union. Let's take a look at the chart to see how this translates. Now, the blue line represents the Australian unemployment rate going back to 2001. The violet line represents the 12-month moving average. And we can see that as the unemployment rate has fallen over the past couple of years, hitting the low in 2008, the unemployment rate was below its 12-month moving average. However, during the recovery, we saw the moving average cross, or the unemployment rate cross back above the moving average. That, since then, has turned back to the downside. 5.3% unemployment is now below its moving average. This is good for the Australian economy, where we see the unemployment rate continue to fall. This indicates economic strength. So, over the past few years, as economies have really turned to the downside, Australian unemployment has turned to the upside, moving to a peak of 5.8%, now holding steady again, 5.3%. The next chart, we compare Australian unemployment and the Reserve Bank of Australia interest rates. Now, we see the blue line, that's Reserve Bank of Australia. We know yesterday, Reserve Bank of Australia, RBA, raised interest rates again to 4.25%. Over time, as unemployment falls, as in the unemployment rate is the violet line, as unemployment falls, and this is indicative of a strong economy, we see the Reserve Bank of Australia raise interest rates. Over the past year to 2 years, as the unemployment rate has risen, the Reserve Bank of Australia was forced to cut interest rates down to the 3% level. Since then, we've seen the Reserve Bank of Australia start to raise rates as unemployment has started to fall. If we see unemployment continue to fall, maybe back down to historic levels near the 4% area, we would likely expect the Reserve Bank of Australia to continue to raise rates. Why is this important? With the anticipation of higher interest rates in Australia, we would likely see strength in the Australian dollar. The next chart shows us the violet line, Australian unemployment rate, currently again 5.3%. Now, the blue line represents the ASX 200 equity index, the stock market. Generally speaking, over time, as unemployment falls, the stock market rises. Strong economy is indicated by low unemployment and a strong stock market. Over the past couple of years, as unemployment soared, well, the stock market went down. But lately, as unemployment has continued to turn back to the downside after peaks actually at 5.8% going back to October 09, we see the ASX 200 index start to rise as well. If we see, again, unemployment continue to fall, we would likely expect to see the ASX continue to move higher. The next chart shows us the Australian unemployment rate. That's the violet line. The blue line, the Aussie dollar currency pair. Over time, as unemployment falls in Australia, that bodes well for the Aussie dollar. The Aussie dollar tends to go up as unemployment falls. If we see unemployment rate continue to fall, with holding steady right now at 5.3%, but if we see unemployment continue to fall, we would likely expect to see the Aussie dollar continue to rise. And finally, we can compare the Aussie dollar, that's the violet line, and the blue line, the ASX 200 equity index. So over time, as the Aussie dollar rises, so does the ASX. As the Aussie dollar falls, the stock market also falls. Lately, we see two markets moving more or less in tangent with each other. With that said, we hope this has been helpful. If you have any questions, email us anytime, info@forexlounge.com. We wish you a great day, all profitable trades, and we look forward to seeing you back soon. Back inside the Forex Lounge.